Hoo, and we are live for another masterclass, LinkedIn for Authors Masterclass. And I got a fabulous friend in the house today, fellow Texan. Woo. We should have worn cowboy hats, pink ones. That would have been cute. So I
I
have
have to admit, I do not have a pink cowboy hat.
You don't have one. Neither do I. So we have to make sure we get those. Maybe we could swap them for Christmas or something. That would be kind of fun.
There we go.
So I have Kevin D. Turner in the house today, and he is, for anybody who doesn't know Kevin, he is just an amazing man. He is a force to be reckoned with on LinkedIn. He is a managing partner for TNT Brand Specialists, and he is the king of new features. If you are not following Kevin, please make sure you are, because he knows so much about LinkedIn, past, present, future, and he's a beta tester, and he just does all sorts of great things. So Kevin is here with me today, and we are talking about LinkedIn Premium and is it worth it for authors? Now, we are coming today from an author's perspective. So if you are thinking about writing a book, or you've written a book, or whatever, this LinkedIn masterclass is for you. But to be honest with you, a lot of what we're going to be talking about applies to the majority of people on LinkedIn, except maybe job seekers, because job seekers, it's still relevant. So job seekers, please stay. But there are things that you would put in your decision-making matrix that have nothing to do with authors. So, we want to think about it. So we are going from an author's perspective, but heads up, everybody, I think a lot of what we're talking about applies to everybody. So Kevin, before we get stuck in, I wanted to talk about what are the levels of premium before we even start talking about what should we have, because some people just, they sign up for LinkedIn and they see the pitch to get business premium, and then that's it. And there's also some new stuff coming out. So can you kind of just give us the little broad background of what the different levels are?
Some of it I can. I can't tell you some of the new stuff, which is a shame, until I think December 2nd. So
close.
And we can talk about a lot more things that are coming, which I think are very cool. And so I'm excited about it. It's been really hard because, you know me, not to tell people everything, because I love to share knowledge. And premium is a interesting process. It's a growing part of the LinkedIn business, right? And there are in trade for an investment, right? And so you've really got to understand what those are, and does it make sense? So, the first level of premium is your basic premium, right? Which is also similar to what we call job seeker premium, when also that aligns with what is LinkedIn Learning Premium. So that's your first step in. That's the more basic. It won't have some of the more robust AI features, or some of the other features like the multi-banner, which we'll talk about because authors can really use that stuff. So that might be a good start in for somebody, but it might not be what they need. So, I know you've got a chart, you'll show it later. You definitely want to go through and find out each component, because the next level up is basically your business premium, right? And that kind of brings in some more of the AI tools for communication, for building your profile, which I think are terrible anyway, on the building the profile. And it does add some other features in there that can be really effective for an author or anybody who wants to grab a little attention out there, right? The new stuff that's coming, I think the name is out there. It's been published a couple of times, and that is the Premium Business Suite setup. And I can't talk much about that, but that's kind of your next level. And to me, I have been a premium user since, I believe, 2012. So I've been doing it a long time. I've switched into different levels of premium, and sometimes it's hard for me to remember what the basic is. And so my wife, who is also a business partner with us, she's got basic. So I get to go sneak over there sometimes and check things out, and also see, what does it look like on my own profile? So I don't have fake accounts. I don't believe in it. I've got a wife that I can borrow hers every now and then to kind of check things out. So it works really well. But that's kind of your span of those premiums. And, I think there's going to be more levels coming,
Mm.
in that sense.
Yes, yes. And, and there are ones, there's Sales Navigator and Recruiter and all that,
Yes.
Recruiter Lite, but those are not relevant to what we're doing today. And there's
And they're
not
very
many,
specialized.
yeah, there's not many authors that want to get on like Sales Navigator because it's just like that's for when you have a sales team or you're really interested in sales leads and that sort of thing. So we're kind of talking about the basics of,
Yeah.
the free plan versus the first levels, but do keep that career one in mind
Mhm.
because we'll
Mhm.
talk in the end about it. And I'm just going to show it now. There is a
Okay.
really, really good help topic that LinkedIn has, which is called differences between LinkedIn free and the premium level accounts. And it's got a really good matrix and it kind of goes through some of the features so that it's a good decision matrix. So if you want to get to it,
Mhm.
here is the URL and you can scan in the QR code. So I just wanted to show everybody that before we get in. And the important thing I want to go through now, and we're going to talk about premium. And if you are an author who already has premium, but maybe you've got 500 connections and you're just like you signed on to LinkedIn, you want to promote your book and you got premium and you're just like, I don't even know what this does. This is a really good opportunity for you as we go through all these different
Mhm.
features is saying, is that something I need? Is that something I want? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to give you a definitive, do you or don't you need premium? It's going to be, it depends. It depends
Mhm.
if you're going to
Mhm.
make use of these features. But for so many people, they just don't even know what they don't know. So they might be sitting there thinking it's going to do stuff for them when in essence, no, you actually have
No,
to put
it'll
in
do
the work.
absolutely nothing if you do nothing with it. It just will sit there, right? It
Right,
is a
right.
tool, and they always say, what is it? A fool with a tool, still a fool.
I love
You can buy
that.
these tools. If you don't do anything with them, you just let them sit. You're just basically paying LinkedIn money.
Yep.
And that kind of brings me into one thing is if you're interested, really interested in, hey, I'm going to get into premium, then find somebody who has premium
Mm.
and ask them if they can gift you the 2-month trial. If you just
Ooh,
go to sign up for premium, they'll give you a month. But if
okay.
you find somebody who has premium, and most of them don't realize this, that they have the ability to give, I think it's about 10 of these
Hmm.
every quarter, I believe. They replenish them. And basically, if you've never had premium before, you can ask for one of these gifts. You tell that individual to go to their premium page, which, if you go to the home page, it's going to be just down that left side navigation. It will say premium features. Or if you go to the me sign, the little picture of you and the arrow down, that's the me. You go in there and it'll take you to your premium things. And you scroll down to the very bottom because I guess they don't really want you giving them away. I don't know. But you scroll down to the very bottom and it'll say gift premium. And then they'll
Mm.
click on that and they enter your name and it sends you a code that you can then go ahead and download. Now,
Mm.
the trick of that is it is free. It will ask you for a credit card
Okay.
because the moment it isn't free, they're going to charge you. And if you cancel it 2 moments later, you still have it for that month. You still have to
Mm.
pay for it. So I always tell people if you're going to try the free trial, put it in your calendar, put it in your phone, put the alarms off so that 2 days before, I've got to make a decision. Do I want to pay
Yep.
for this? Do I want to keep it going? Because if I let it go and it goes past that clock, I'm going to be charged for a month and they won't reimburse you even if you cancel.
Wow.
So
Wow.
then you got to cancel and then you don't get it the next month.
I got
Which
it.
is terrible
Got
if you
it.
actually figure it out on the 3rd month, right? With you gotta go through the whole process again. But that's a great way to do it. Now, if you make friends, I always call them, LinkedIn friends, right? Innies. If you make your innies into friends, sometimes they can gift up to 6 months to a year of premium. And a
Wow.
lot of them, they're good people. They have kind hearts. If you're in transition, you know, they're really, really nice about giving those. And that's who they like to give them to. So, if you have a really hard story to tell, maybe you're an author, you're not in transition, but you've got a hard story to tell, talk to them, and often they will gift that to you. And that's a huge opportunity.
That's amazing. Those are ninja tips, Kevin. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for that. And, and a lot of people, they might not even realize that they can give that gift. So that might be
Mhm.
something where you might think, okay, maybe who would be the best person for me to do this with? Maybe it's a prospective client or, whatever. So, or somebody that you cross promote with, help each other. So that's a great tip. Thank you.
And
Thank
that's
you.
where most of mine go is, people I know that need that extra help. And it's nice
Nice.
to be able to
Nice.
do that.
And you're such a nice person.
Mhm.
So when you're on premium, you get that gold badge. And I'm going
Mhm.
to ask you if I'm correct in this assumption. Does everybody get the gold badge? Like if you're a recruiter, like it doesn't matter what level you're at. I think everybody gets that gold
Yes.
badge,
So if
right?
you buy into any of those premiums, you get the opportunity to display the gold badge,
Okay,
right?
that's a good tip.
So in that top card, when you're editing your profile, right, that top card is like basically it's like a business card, right? Right
Right.
up there. That's why they call it the top card. You go into the pencil edit, and within there, it will actually give you the option to either show it or not show it. So when you're premium, and you're traveling around LinkedIn, you're commenting, you're getting into lives, whatever it is, that little badge is following you around.
Mm.
Some people are impressed by it. Some people are not, right? But it does have an impact to quite a few people out there. But one thing I decided to do was not to display my premium badge. And the
Mm.
reason being is they have a hierarchy on what badges show. The badge below that premium badge is my verified badge, my little shield, right? I would rather people know I'm who I say I am than know that I pay for premium, right? Because I'm
Mm.
not going to win anybody over with the gold badge, but that little verified profile means more to many people. They at least get a better trust factor very quickly with me. So I turn mine off. So when I comment out there or I'm building a post or whatever it is, that little verified badge is showing up now instead of my premium badge. And I can turn it
Mm.
back the other way any moment I want to.
That's interesting. Does
Yep.
it still show on your profile though? Like
It
it,
does on the profile
but it
itself.
just
And you
doesn't
get
follow
both.
you along. It doesn't
Yeah.
follow you along into search
No.
results and
On
all
your
those kind
profile,
of
you'll
things.
get both verified and premium. When you're out and about on LinkedIn, you're only going to get the next level right down of that badge you decide to show or not show.
Mm, that's interesting. And you would actually think, why is LinkedIn not kind of making that making you make that choice? Like I would think that it would be like, you know, if you're a top voice, is that another thing where it's like you make the decision of I want to show that I'm a top voice or I have premium? Like I think
You
top
can
voice is
decide not to show your top voice, and then it would
okay.
show your verified if you were verified.
Okay.
It won't show the premium because, believe it or not, the blue badge, which is the top voice badge, that's when
Right.
the news directors decide you are worthy of one, they bestow it upon you, right?
Right.
That badge is the same in
Mm,
the sense of how it's coded in. And so, if you want that to follow you around, you definitely want to display it, but you have that choice.
Okay, that makes
I've
sense.
never
That
seen
makes
anybody
sense.
turn it off that got one.
Well, a top voice? Yeah, it's
No.
like you'd have to be like, I don't know, pissed off at LinkedIn. "I don't want your top voice."
Mhm.
In protest, like when people give back their Academy Awards, "I don't want it from the Academy." It's the same sort of thing.
There
But
you
I
go.
I suppose there's always a reason. And, like,
Yeah.
even at displaying the gold badge, I suppose that, I would think for a job hunter, if you were like looking to get a new job, but you didn't want, and you had LinkedIn Premium, but you didn't want your employer to know that you were looking
That's
for a job,
yeah.
you might want to not display that. And just as a quick aside, I'll throw this in because it's a trivia point, is that I was talking with our friend Tina Jarvett, and
Mhm.
she uses LinkedIn Recruiter.
That's
And
right.
I asked her, do recruiters see the gold badges? And she says, no, they don't. When a recruiter looks at your page, they don't see, that's not one of the, they see your profile differently when they use Recruiter. So she says, actually, she went to somebody who she knows has the gold badge and she couldn't see it. So of course, maybe the person turned it off, but you never know. But that, I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to recruiters, just in as a
They're
side.
always worried about, they don't want to impress in a different way, like the subliminal. And I think that's why
Right.
LinkedIn chose that to be that way.
Right.
And you
That
can even
makes
turn off
sense.
pictures as a recruiter. I don't want to see pictures of people, right?
Mm,
But then you can't have a bias in that sense. So
that's
there's a
true.
lot of little things like that in Premium Recruiter that, you know, are different than the rest of us need.
Exactly. So we're going to start going through some of the premium features, and then we're going to take a, like, we'll do one or two, and then we'll take a little break and we'll check in with people and see if people have questions. And we just want this to be interactive. We're going to be here for at least an hour. So we do encourage everybody to type in questions, type in your comments. We're happy that everybody's here. So let me just go through, I'll go through at least one, then we'll hop out of comments. So the first one I want to talk about is LinkedIn on their, one of their help topics actually says, profile people who have the premium subscription get 11 times more profile views on average. And so I was just like, what? So how would that be, Kevin? Do you think it's because, like, when you do a search, you know, you see somebody has a gold badge? Are we like shiny object? We're like, oh, if we see that.
There's probably some of that. I always take LinkedIn stats with a bucket of salt, not a grain, a bucket, right? If you think about people who buy into premium, they're your most active people on LinkedIn, right? If you only show up once a month or once every 6 months, you don't buy premium, right? If you're there every single day and you're using every feature and you said, I've maxed out on the basic, I need the next level, you're buying into premium. Well, guess what? Because you are that active, you're getting 11 times more than the average. It's more about activity than it is the badge itself. And those kind of things, LinkedIn stats are awful in that sense. I was debating with somebody on mobile versus desktop. They say, well, 70% of all sessions are on mobile. Well, mobile measures a session different than a desktop. I can log on to LinkedIn on a desktop and I have one session all day long. I open up my mobile phone. Within 30 seconds, I've already had 10 sessions. So when they use that stat, you know, 70% of all sessions are mobile. That is correct, but it's not apples and oranges. So I don't get too swayed by LinkedIn stats.
Okay.
They're definitely marketing tools.
I like that. And so that really answers a quick question for authors and anyone else, that if you got the badge just because you think, oh, that's going to make me more visible, you know, my profile more visible. It's actually, if you're not doing anything, it's like you're just still getting, you know, 11 times zero, which is zero. So it's like, I like that. So basically it's about your activity. So I think that's really, really good. So let's head over to see who's with us today. We've got Jeff Young in the house today. He says, greetings from the front row, jumping in from YouTube. So thank you for being here, Jeff. We always love you. And then Tina Jarvitt, her ears are burning because we were just talking about her. So she says, greeting from the best seats, Gillian and Kevin. I will take notes and decide if I'll keep the premium. So again, Tina's a really interesting example of, Tina has Recruiter, and because she's a recruiter and a career coach. So she has two hats, but her third hat is she's an author. And so now she's coming with her author hat, that if she decided to let go of Recruiter, you know, as she's transitioning in her career, does she need to now, you know, keep up premium? So that's a good one for Tina to me making that decision.
Premium and business premium is expensive. You should look at the price tag on Recruiter. So I know if she's not full force in using that tool, and there's some new stuff that's happening that makes premium pretty dynamic, you know, in the sense of finding and sourcing people. So I can understand that completely.
That's good. So Tina, stay tuned for the new announcements coming out in December on next plans coming because they might be more appropriate for you. So that's good
Mhm.
to know. So El Mott says, hello from Kentucky, and I never could get back to the thread in my comments. People have such a hard time with LinkedIn and trying to find lives, and they're always weird. They're always weird, but we're glad you're here. Yolanda is here. She says,
Right.
hello, everyone. Hello to Gillian and Kevin. So we're glad you're here, Yolanda. We have Carmen Shea Brown. She says, hello from Birmingham, Alabama. Can't wait to see this. I think that's Alabama.
Mhm.
ALA, that's Alabama. Yay, we're here. And Jeff Young is popping in from LinkedIn now. He says, I love it, Kevin. I'm a big believer in the phrase, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So I love that. And Crystal Hughes says, thanks for the free trial info. So yes, that's good to
Mhm.
know. And, especially that bit about, setting your alarm in your calendar to cancel it beforehand if you don't want it. And also too, this is my tip. Whenever you sign up for any kind of free trial, make the concentrated effort to use it.
Yeah.
Use it to your advantage. There's nothing worse than people signing up for a free trial and then they're like, "Oh, it's 30 days have gone by and I never even
And I
used
haven't even
anything."
started yet. Yeah.
No. No,
That's a
it's
bad place
like
to be.
yeah, yeah, if you're going to do it, use it to your advantage. And oh, Jeff asked a good question. Is the
Mhm.
program that gives veterans a year of premium for free still in effect? Okay,
It is
that's
in effect. It went silent for about 2.5 months. It's back in play, and it also includes mill spouses. So military
oh,
spouses also have access to it as well.
oh,
So it's
that's
a
really
cool
good.
deal, and I think it's, if you go to Google, if you still use the internet in that sense, look for LinkedIn Social Good Military, and it'll
Okay.
get you to the right place.
And Jeff's typed it in for us.
There you go.
So I love
Hey
it. I
there,
love
social
that.
impact. So, yep, that's the right place.
That's great. That's great. And Jeff says, actually, looking at Kevin's profile, I don't see the gold badge, but I do see the verified shield. So, Jeff, can you check and see if I saw it in the top right corner of Kevin's profile. So I thought I saw it. I checked this morning, but anyways, it'll be good to know. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop back over to thank you. Keep your comments and questions coming because we're going to be here forever. So, okay, so we talked about profile views. We talked about, okay, the next thing is scrolling background banner. Now, this is something that authors, perk up your heads because I think this is actually
Mhm.
something that you could really take to your advantage. So, Kevin, I don't have this, you do. So, can you explain it? And then how would this be good for authors?
But the technical term is multi-image, right? And basically, it allows you to load several background banners to your profile. And once you load them all, then it just moves them through. It kind of
Mm.
swipes past. So visually, there's movement on the profile, which some people really like. But if you have, let's say, a book, right, and you want to kind of broadcast that book, then the next thing you've got speaker engagements, right? Then you want to have the next slide talks about speaker engagements. Maybe the next one is a signing event, right?
Mm.
Or it's a workshop that you're doing on how to produce books, whatever it is. You can use those multi banners instead of trying to cram it all onto one, which
Mm.
I've seen, and that's too much, right?
Right.
This one allows it to slide past. And so, I set mine up. I was in the beta test for it and I never changed it because it happened so quickly. I put my second banner in upside down and it was a little cheeky. And I get more calls from people going, "Hey, Kevin, did you realize that your second banner is upside down? We wanted you to know." And that starts a whole conversation. So,
Love that.
it is interesting. People do notice it. If I'd had that second banner with something else on it, I might not have ever known that people actually do pay attention, right?
Mm.
And so it does work. And, I think authors, it's a huge opportunity because you've got all these things going on.
Mm, I love that. And, first of all, I've got 5 books. So it's
Mhm.
like I literally could have a banner for each book. And at one time I did try to put all 5 of my books on on the banner, and it was too much. So I just went, what's the most important one? And I stuck with that. So, but even if you don't have 5 books, if you just have 1 book, like you said, a lot of times authors on LinkedIn, you also want to promote your services. So maybe you don't want just your book, maybe you want, like you said, speaking engagements, or maybe, I don't know, you're an insurance salesman. So you want something
Yeah.
about, farmers insurance or something like that. So there could be a lot of different facets to you and what you do. Maybe you want to be a podcast guest. So you want to kind of
Mhm.
have a picture of you with headphones on, like, oh, I'm a great podcast
Yeah.
guest. Those,
Holding
those
your
are,
book at the podcast, right?
pardon me?
Holding your book at the podcast.
There we go. Combine them. And I think that's a good thing. So again, if you are an author and you have LinkedIn Premium and you are not taking advantage of these scrolling banners, that's your homework assignment.
Mhm,
Get on
mhm.
that. And if you do the trial of LinkedIn Premium, that to me would be the first thing that I would do, is put those scrolling banners and see, maybe just kind of make some stats for yourself. Keep
Yeah,
some stats of like, well, okay, for that month, did I get more people that wanted to connect with me? Did I get more interest, more profile views? Like, do your stats, do your
yeah.
homework. So,
And you can do things like put different QR codes on different ones. So they
mm,
lead to different places, right? So then oh, they're actually checking that out, or they responded more to that one, right?
right,
Or you could
right.
use it as hey, use one of the words in my background banner when you contact me, and I'll know what your interests are, right?
Mm,
There's
mm.
a lot of creative ways you can kind of make it even more interactive.
I love that. And
Mhm.
Kevin, just as a question, so say you have your 5 banners. Can you just edit one at a time? Like when you go in, can I leave like the first 3 and I just want to change banner number 4 and 5, and then can I move them around? Is it
You
kind of
can. You
easy?
can actually remove them. You can turn them off, or you can, put new ones in.
Okay.
You can't edit right in the system, but if you've edited it, then you can load it and put it into the order that you want it to be in.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that makes a
Okay.
difference.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So obviously that is a good feature.
Mhm. One
Okay.
warning,
So,
though, I'll tell you:
uh-huh.
don't change the colors too much,
Okay.
because all of a sudden, and I've seen a lot of them, it starts to look like
Mhm.
a strobe light, right? And so
Mm,
sometimes if the banners don't have connectivity, right?
okay.
Maybe you've got your brand colors. So
Right.
if you're using those brand colors, that works. But if one is orange and the next one is green and the next one is, black, and it's like all of a sudden you're going to give that
It's jarring.
person a headache.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
be
Yep.
careful in that sense.
That's a nice tip. That's a
Mhm,
nice tip. Have some sort of, we don't want the Frankenstein effect. We want
mhm.
it cohesive and smooth. And I love the idea of like if you picked a consistent brand color. I'm always thinking of Michelle B. Griffin and her yellow. And it's like
Yeah.
if each one of her banners was yellow and then had her book and her speaking, and
See,
there
and I
would be
always
a
think of
flow
John
to it.
Asperian and his 3 colors, right?
Yes.
They're on
Yes.
everything,
They're on
including his
everything.
banner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay, so this is a really impressive thing in that you can have a services or a
Mhm.
custom button that displays on your profile, but that darn little button travels with you everywhere. Well, it not everywhere. It goes on your profile, you're in the search results and the messages in the feed. So now you think about it, in the search results, you're
Mhm.
showing your little gold badge, and you can have your custom button as
Yeah.
well. So you can have services or custom button. Can you talk about this, Kevin?
Uh, yeah, absolutely, and what I do like about that is, it has some presets, right, that you
Okay.
choose from, and so, if it's direct to your service page, that's basically what it's gonna be. Check out my services. If it's another custom button and you can place those in there, you still have to pick from an assortment of titles that they use. The reason they do that is people do bad things, right? So you can do some bad stuff, and they don't want that out there in that sense of being part of LinkedIn's brand as well. But I do like it. It does drive traffic. And if you boost a post, which has become popular to do right now because reaches down and they've got that new boosting service, it will tell you if somebody's clicked on that link.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's kind of neat. So when you put a post out and all of a sudden you've got 5 people clicked on it, you put your next post out of a different topic and nobody clicks on it, you go, well, my people like this topic, right?
Mm.
And so it can kind of help you define what your content is. Well,
Okay, that's cool. Now, what are you using yourself? Are you using services or the custom button to like book an appointment, or what do you use?
I use my service page. So
Okay.
that takes them to the provider page. Used to be called ProFinder. Now it's called Service Provider. And it takes
Okay.
them to that page where they can see what services I provide. And
Mm.
so to me, that's important to drive that traffic back. And
Yep.
then I have a second option, which has gone away unless you took advantage of it. It was kind of a premium thing, and that gave you the ability to have a completely customized link in your top card that you could name it whatever you wanted to name it.
Right. Right.
And
I
I
have
do have
that.
that
I
as well.
had that on the
Yes,
free. Yeah.
you got it in early, and then it
Hmm.
became premium only, and then it became we're not so sure we're going to move it forward unless you've already got it. So
Oh, wow. Wow.
go
So
check,
that,
and if you have that option, use it for something.
yep.
And what I actually do on my particular profile is people always come to me and say, well, do you have any written recommendations? So they're all the way at the bottom of the profile. Nobody gets there, right? So I
Mm.
actually put a link to that section, which, believe it or not, when you go into edit mode in LinkedIn for that section of written recommendations, you will see there's a new URL that's only for that section. So that's the URL I used in there. Then said 220 plus written recommendations. They
Cool.
click on that, it takes them all the way down to the bottom of my profile, and it's there. So you could do
That's
something very similar, with book reviews and all sorts of
right.
stuff. Yeah.
I actually have my link. I'm glad I got it in, and I'm glad I was like thought broad, because I originally had it like go to a specific book, but then I
Mhm.
thought, well, I got 5 books, which one, right?
Yeah,
So I decided I'd have it go to my Amazon author page, because
that's
then
perfect.
as I get new books, it just will continue to grow. And so I was glad I kind of zoomed out for that, and thought that, and especially if I can't change it, I'm glad that at least, okay, until it goes away, I've got something.
Yeah.
So that's good
And
to
I've
know.
heard stories of some people being able to change it and some
Mm.
people losing it when they try to change it. So
Eek, eek.
try to
Okay.
grab it and do just like you did. Make it so that it can last for the years, right?
Yep.
Don't make it so it's so specific, it's going to become maybe less useful later on because
Yeah.
you
Like
may or may
imagine
not
just
be able to have it.
advertising for a certain event, and it's like, okay, that was 3 years
Yeah, yeah,
ago.
exactly.
So, okay, let's hop back to our comments, and we'll see. Okay, I get lost with the comments because they unfortunately, they not unfortunately, fortunately, they keep rolling in, but then they move around. So,
I don't know
okay,
how you do it. I can't
it's,
multitask like
it's,
that.
I don't know how either. It's like I always have to take a nap after a live, because there's so many moving parts to this. So we have Crystal here who says, "Hi viewers, from today's Focus with Crystal podcast, I'm looking to interview authors." Okay, so we've got somebody that, there you go. You can connect with people here. So
Very cool.
follow Kevin. Yes, follow Kevin. I agree. Follow Kevin. And then we have people saying hi to each other. Hi to each other. I always love that.
Mhm.
And Jeff says, "Is it still true that only 40% of members have premium?"
I think it's
So,
much less than that.
mm, mm. And
Yeah.
that's, and Jeff, it's like, are we just talking about the regular, first level premium, the business premium, or are we talking about recruiter and all that jazz too? Although,
Yeah, if you
Kevin,
throw in recruiter and sales navigator, it might be getting close. But if
okay,
it's just those basic categories of you know, business premium or job seeker, learning
right.
premium, I think that's closer to like 15%.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's US, that's not global. So globally, there's some countries that they can't sell premium. And
Mm,
they sell it at a different price, believe it or not. So
that's
pricing
interesting.
on LinkedIn is localized.
Hmm. Speaking of localized, when we were talking about veterans, were we talking about veterans worldwide, or are we talking about US veterans? Is there
They have to
any
be US
distinction?
service, my
Okay.
understanding. Now,
Okay.
I don't know if that is different in other countries, but they would probably know better. So if somebody's
Okay.
in the
Like
European
the
Union,
UK or
they may be
something.
able to tell us if they have it, but I
Okay.
believe it is US only because LinkedIn's technically a US company. So it's
Okay.
their give
No.
back. So
That makes sense. That makes sense.
mhm.
Okay, so Leslie Nidick says, "Hello, Kevin and Gillian. Great to see you and hear you." So that's always good. We know that people can hear us. Belinda Wilkerson says,
Yeah.
"Great information. We're so glad that you're finding this helpful. So yay." Crystal says, "Yes, great info, Kevin and Gillian." And Jeff says, "Nope, Jillian, the gold badge doesn't show just below the banner." Okay, so that's
Oh,
interesting. I wonder why I saw it. So I
I
maybe I
know.
just imagined it there. And then Jeff is saying hi to Tina. Leslie says, "The movement of the banner does catch my eye and invites me to look at all of them." So
Mhm.
see, there we go. Some people, they're just like, nope, it's a trigger for me and I hate it and I don't want to see it. And, of course, you can scroll. You can also stop it, can't you, by just clicking? I think you can click
You
through
can, or you
them.
can advance it one way or the other. If you missed one of the slides, you can move it the other way.
Yep.
Yes. So you
Yep.
can do that, or just scroll a little farther down on the page so it goes up over the top of the page, right? And then you
Yep.
don't have to look at it.
Yep. So Elle says she's working on her third book. So there we go. We
Nice.
have we do have authors in the house today. So that's good to know. We've got the lovely Craig Allen here. He says, "I find them distracting. Am I the only one?" So he's probably talking about those banners that that
I'm
that
actually
is
working on my fifth book, but I haven't published any of them. And that's what happens, right?
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. And Jeff is saying, yes, some folks have mentioned motion sickness. So
Yeah,
that is definitely something to think about is that, and I think like the tip that you made before, Kevin, that it's like, that's
unify.
why you want to have
Yeah.
that branding and have that more cohesive look and not have it jar from different colors because we just
Mhm.
don't want that to strobe. So, okay. So let's get back to another LinkedIn premium feature, and that is connection invites. Now, if you're on premium, you get unlimited. And what that means is anybody can ask anybody to connect. So that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a personalized note that
Yeah.
you can send with your connection request. Now, it used to be 10 a month, then it became
Mhm.
5. And then in the last couple of days, they took us down to 3. And it's just
Or if
like,
you were Jeff Young, they did it to him 6 months ago,
oh, really?
and that's because
Right?
Jeff's a naughty boy.
Yes.
They took away his, invites, they tested it on Jeff, and they said, "Okay, that works."
Poor Jeff. Poor
I think
Jeff.
it's the worst thing that they have done is, to me, it was hard enough to get people to write invites,
Yes.
and then you take it away from them, and so now most of my, incoming has nothing on it. So I don't know where these people come from. And, I do prefer and I do gravitate towards invites that have something in there, right? That I
Mhm.
can tell was not created by AI.
Right.
Doesn't sound like the same invite I just got 2 minutes ago, right? So there's
Ooh, that's a
something in
bad
there.
one. Yes.
I don't even care if they're poorly written, right? I just want to know that a person sent me something of interest and they made some kind of connection, and it also helps you identify whether it's going to be, a pitch as soon as you connect to, because if they say, "I'm in the insurance business and I think I've got some great products for you," probably not taking that one.
Right. Right.
Nothing
Right.
to say bad about insurance, but just as an example, that's why I like those written invites, because people do tendency to put it out there, and that is a person that I wouldn't report or block. I just wouldn't accept. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I don't know them, because that can actually have an impact on how many invites they can send.
Yep. Yep. Well, and I'll tell you, coming from Team Free here, is that number one, I can, now I can only send 3 myself.
Mhm.
And to be honest with you, I very rarely send invitations to connect, period. I'm just not, I'm
Yeah.
more inbound person than an outbound person.
Mhm.
That's just my personality. But what I have found is because I know so many people on the free plan can't do it, plus so many people who connect from their phone
Yeah.
screw it up and don't even include the personal invite because it
Mhm.
gets complicated from your phone, that for the most part, if somebody sends me a connection request, I will go and look at their profile.
I do too.
And, if they look of interest, yeah, I see the mutual connections, I have a look, what are they doing? If it's like lead expert such and such, they're like just a no. But if they look like, okay, this is somebody that
Mhm.
maybe would be a
Mhm.
potential for me, I'll check them out before I say yay or nay. But if I get a personalized connection request that's crappy, then I don't even look at their profile.
Mm.
I don't
'Cause you
even
already
do it.
know.
Yeah.
You know what's
So
going on.
so a really bad personalized invite for me is worse than
Mhm.
having no personalized note. So in the end, I don't know if this is I wouldn't pay for premium to have this
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah. And I'm a thorough believer in I wait till I have 7 positive touch points
Mm,
before I will send anybody an invite. And at
mm,
that point, they're gonna know me well enough. Sometimes they've already sent me the invite, but
yeah,
at that point, when that invite comes in, if it were blank, they would accept it because they already know me.
right.
I don't send to people I have no idea. They have no idea who I am. That doesn't work for me, whether it is actually fully written up or if it's blank. To
Mm,
me, that has the same impact, I think. And, I've got somewhere in the 98 kind of percentile of acceptance on invites because I do just that. I wait till I have at least 7 positive touch points. Now,
mm,
that could happen all in one post, right? If you went back and forth in
right.
comments and talking to each other, and it was really good, it was positive, I could probably send an invite right after that post is or that conversation's done, and they probably would accept.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
my process. And so, in some ways, they took it away, but there are better ways to do it anyway.
So it's really maybe not so necessary if
Yeah.
you're really engaging with people on comments and that sort of thing. It really is relevant. And like you said,
Mhm.
so many times I'll be, I might meet somebody on somebody else's post. So this is a brand new person for me. I've never seen
Yeah.
this person before. So I do a comment, they do a comment, and then there's like a couple of comments back and forth and I'm like, this person's so fun. I don't want to lose them. And I go and I
Yeah.
look and they've already sent me the request.
Yeah.
So it's just
They're
like,
they're doing the same thing. So
yeah.
they're doing that positivity. I've got a relationship going. I want to capture it digitally.
Yep.
That's the perfect way to do it.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so LinkedIn, we don't really care. You can you're not
Yeah.
penalizing as much as you think you are. So I like that's a yay for that one. So this one, I don't know. I don't ever use this anyways, but a premium feature is you get to see who viewed your profile. So it's like
Mhm.
I'll see that people as if on the free plan, I'll see, oh, so many people looked at my profile and I look and they're like a fuzzy blank furry
Yeah.
thing. I can't see anything. And I just go, like really, I don't really follow up on that. And I always find it kind of alarming when I go to somebody's profile, even by mistake, I'm just trying to like check on their post or
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
or whatever. And they're like, can I help you? And it's just like, no,
Yeah.
I went to your profile by mistake. So what do you think about this? Who viewed your profile? Is this
I like
important?
who viewed my profile, and I like
Okay.
in premium that you've got 90 days of it, right? So
Okay.
1,000 of them came in, you're gonna see all 1,000. If it was 5, you're gonna see the 5, right? And you're gonna see them in full glory. So they got pictures, you're gonna see the picture, you're gonna see all their information. You don't have to do anything clever like try to decipher the wording or anything like that to find the person. What I like about it is if somebody's made the effort to come to your profile, then that might be somebody that you then might want to follow or engage or even just have a conversation. Hey, I noticed you came to my profile. Is there anything I can help you with? Now,
Mm,
there's one individual, and he's really clever at this. It's Liam DeMarty. He actually sends a GIF. Every time somebody comes to his profile, he sends a really funny little GIF, right? That's it, nothing else. And it opens up conversations. People come back, oh, I love that gift. That was great. And, and boom, boom, boom. And Then it's not so my wall is up because you caught me looking in, right? Then it's kind of
Right.
funny. And his gifts are all in that I caught you peeking kind of genre, right? So
Right. Right.
I think that's clever. But
That is clever.
whenever we go around LinkedIn, we leave our digital business card on digital desks, right? So if you're a job seeker, it's an incredible tool that who viewed my profile because let's say recruiters, they're always interested. They are the most curious cats out there, right? They'll check that every day, several times a day to see who's been looking at them because it could either mean they're a perfect candidate or they know somebody who is, or they've got an opportunity for them, right? I can hire you and pay you all that money, come see me. A lot of them are really using this quite a bit. So you can use that to your advantage, depending on what you want to get out of it. If you're an author, maybe you're looking for a publisher. If you go out and open up profiles of the publishers you'd like to target, right? Maybe you also then follow them while you're there, which is smart to do, right?
Mhm.
That could lead back. And if they've got that premium badge, they're going to see it at some point. In the last 90 days, they'll notice that you've checked in on them. And usually, if you check in more than once, then they become really curious. And so, you can use it as a tool to generate interest back to you. The other thing that LinkedIn does, even if you did not follow them, the fact that you open their profile, LinkedIn says, well, maybe Gillian would like some content from all these publishers that she's opened up their profiles, right? And so you'll get a little more of that in your feed. So it can be used in that sense, but I like the reverse of it. And that is who looked at me and can I somehow them? Do I want to? And just like you go check out the profile, right? So I don't ever tell people to use that feature. And this is one of those premium things. You can actually go sneak around LinkedIn anonymously, right? You can do
And
that
that
you can't do that in basic, right?
right.
In the freemium, shall we say. But here's the drawback. If you do that, if you go sneaking around anonymously and you think, I just looked at all my competition, or I looked at this and I, checked out that. As soon as you turn your badge back to full presence, all those ones in the last 90 days, you reappear as not anonymous, but as you.
Oh.
Because the data pull is active.
Oh.
So if you use anonymous, you got to use it all the time. If you turn it on and off, you're technically not anonymous outside of that one instance.
Oh, wow.
I always warn people that it's a great premium feature if you have to go sneaking around. Recruiters use it a lot.
Sure. Because they just want to be
They
able
don't
to.
want you calling back going, hey, you peeked at my profile. Why didn't you hire me?
Right.
Or can I help you? They don't want the pressure. They want to go sneak around and look. But again, if they turn it back to full profile, which I always suggest people do, because then you're leaving that digital business card on other people's desks, right? So to me, it's kind of it's not a well-explained feature, and it can actually put you in some jeopardy.
So I'm thinking from an author's perspective, the who viewed my profile, it's useful if you're gonna do something with it. Again,
Yes.
if you get it, experiment with it, go and see who is viewing your profile, and is this giving you an indication of people that like your content, that might be interested in your book, that you might want to have a relationship, maybe you want to collaborate with them, whatever. So again, this is probably one of those, go use it and see what you could do, because a lot of people might say, I didn't even know I could have this. I didn't even know this was, a thing. And remember, if you're on the free plan, they're all just fuzzy people. Like, we can't see anything. So.
And another group that really responds well to you visiting is podcasters. Because they're curious people anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so if they've got premium, they're checking that out and they're going, well, why does Gillian always pop in on my profile once a week? Maybe I ought to check on Gillian, right? And so if you think about it in the author sense, who is your curious audience?
Right.
You start opening up them, you'll see them come back and check you out. So you're building a relationship, right? It may be a little bit of a sneak and peek relationship at that point, but you're building a relationship. You're finding out about each other. So
sort
I
of
think, you know, in that
tag you're
sense,
it.
yeah, yeah, in that sense, it's good. It's like glances at people in a room, right? You know, you do that enough, then you got to go talk to them.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay, so let's head back to our comments. So Leslie says, Craig Ellen, while they are distracting, that is what draws me into to look at it. So, you know,
Mhm.
I think this is a really good example. You know, Leslie and Craig, it's like one of them likes the banners, the other doesn't like the banners. And it that's the thing about LinkedIn is that there's uh, LinkedIn appeals to us many different ways. It's like
Mhm.
even like when you're in the DM, some people like text notes, some people like voice notes, some people like video notes. You know, some people just like a GIF, you know, a thumbs up emoji. We're all different, and so you know, I think that's something to always keep in mind. We're all
Yep.
different.
And
And
know
Craig,
your audience, right?
yes,
You might
yes,
like
yes,
it, your audience might not.
exactly,
Or the other way
exactly.
around. Maybe you don't like them, but your audience might actually respond to them. So think of every feature in that sense. It's not for you per se. It's
Right,
how does it generate a response from the other side?
exactly. And you know, kind of going back to those banners again, you know, not to kill a dead horse, but I'm thinking that even letting people know, like, okay, I wrote 5 books. People might say, oh, I didn't know you wrote a book on that. It's like, oh, I
Mhm,
read that book, but I didn't know you wrote a book on that topic. It's just another way of, you know, the other day I got somebody's book and then I bought their second book, you know, because it was just like, oh, wow, this is really good.
mhm,
They gave me proof that they had a lot to say, and they mentioned their other book in their book, and it was just like, well, then I want to go read this one too.
mhm,
So
mhm.
but I wouldn't have known. I probably wouldn't have taken the time to go into Amazon and say, what other books do they have? They dripped it all through their book,
Yeah,
and I clicked and I bought. So you
mhm.
know, like Craig says, to each his own. So
There you
I
go.
like that. I like that. So L says, I was thinking the banner is an option for my 3 books. 2 are published, 1 is on the way. So even that, you can have a banner that says in production, coming soon,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Like coming soon. We do it for movies, do it for books.
Pre-order, pre-order,
Yes,
right?
pre-order my book
Be the
now.
first, you know? I'll
Yes, yes.
sign the
And
first 100, pre-order now,
yes,
right?
yes, and a
Use
lot
it
of
as a tool.
people actually go and make a coming soon page on their website
Mhm,
because they are talking about their book, and then when their book goes live, they've got an email list of people that, like, raised their hand and said, "I'm interested in knowing about your books." I think that's really good.
very
So
true.
Greg says, "Interesting on the personal invites. Will this mean pitch slapping will stop or reduce? Is that why they did it?" So, good question. What do you think, Kevin?
No, because if you accept it, they're gonna do that anyway, right? That was
Right.
that was the intent anyway. If they get you to accept an invite, that's when they're gonna pitch. I actually like people who pitch during the invite because it's like a real litmus test, right? Do I really even wanna connect at all? The ones who come later, the ones that I, when somebody says, pitch slapping, those are the ones slapping you. At least the ones
Yeah.
coming in, we're handing it to you, serving it
They're
up
just
and saying,
pitching. They're
you
just
know I'm gonna
pitching,
do this if you let me in, right? I'd
right?
rather have that. The pitch slapping to me are the ones that come in and it sounds all nice. Oh, you're wonderful, and I love to follow you and everything else, and then boom, buy my diet weight loss stuff. It's like that I don't want. And I
You're
will
just like,
I will
"Oh."
immediately I disconnect from them and I do report them
Yeah,
because you can have conversations with them. They will never change for you. The
no.
only thing they'll change for is if their account ever gets restricted by LinkedIn. LinkedIn says you sent too many spammy invites,
Yep,
you got reported. That's the only person they're going to listen to. And
yep.
if they have to go back to their boss and say, oh, a couple of people complained, the boss would say, oh, a couple of people didn't. A couple of people bought from you. If they go back to the boss and say, LinkedIn has restricted my account, I can't
Mm,
send anymore, boss isn't going to make them do it. Right.
yep.
So the best thing we can do to take care of that is to report them.
Report and block. So,
Yep.
and I asked you about somebody the other day, and you said, "Report and block, Gillian." Just like, okay, why did I even forget this? And I actually
To
had
me, it's
somebody
not
the other
even
day.
worth my time to think too deeply
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah,
because
and
I
I
don't need
I
that.
I had somebody the other day, and they were, like, swearing on my post, and it was just like, just went, okay, they're out of here. It's like my posts. I don't want them saying nasty things. So we do have that. Ditto to what Gillian said about the connection invites. So thank you. So let's go back to, so we did the viewed my profile. Inbox away message. Now that's something that you don't have on the premium. You don't have on the freemium plan. When you know, we can't do that, but that is something that you can do on premium. So
but not on Job Seeker Premium.
Okay, so that's a good one to know.
To get that. And that's the out of office. And I do use it. And I link it to my YouTube channel. And so often, you know, what's coming in is I've got questions on this, that, and the other. They're like, oh yeah, he's got a YouTube channel. It's probably there. And they'll go and they'll look. So it works really well. And I just put a quick message in there and say, you know, I'm busy and I'm going to get back to you. But while I'm doing that, hey, check out my YouTube channel. And I usually also say, you know, I'm introducing you to this premium feature, which is out of office message. Bad thing about it is you can lose messages really quick because technically you responded to it and it may then fall down the list because it's no longer an unread. Right. So in that sense, it can actually make things go missing in messaging, and messaging is a mess anyway. So I always warn people, if you're going to use it, you better go and check and go down that a few times to make sure you didn't auto message them in that sense. And that was it.
So can you kind of turn that on and off? Like, would you say, maybe I'll just turn it on Fridays, or, you know, something like that?
It's like calendar. This start this day, end this day.
Okay.
And when you get towards the end, LinkedIn will send you a message saying, hey, you need to update your calendar or it's going to be turned off, or your not calendar, but you know what I mean? They'll let you know that it's now off. And so I think it works really well. So if you're actually using it as out of office, it does perfectly. I don't suggest using it out of office and saying I'm in the Bahamas right now, because somebody's going to be in your house while you're in the Bahamas. So be careful. You know, the internet is not the place to tell people you are not there anymore or there today. So I use it all the time. That's not an issue.
So think of it as a call to action. So if you're an author, you could say, have you heard about that? I just released my new book. And you could put the Amazon link there, right? Or you could, you know, go to my YouTube channel or go to my website. I have a book page on my website. So you can you send them to a post? Can you send them to a post on LinkedIn, or
you can link it to anything. You know, you can put the link in there and it will pull that up and show them, and they can click on it and go to that. You can also do, hey, you know, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm not available right now, but here's a 20% discount on my book. You know, get clever, you know, and then people are like, I don't mind them doing that to me all the time.
Right. Or even a lead magnet. Like if you have something like, say I had like 7 tips for, you know, putting your book on Amazon or something. It's like, that's, you know, download that PDF here. So then that's helpful. And it's got my contact information and, you know, yada, yada, yada. So it's a good way of, like, you know, kind of getting people to, but I guess
a LinkedIn would be nice out there that does a kind of a calendar link, right? Get a 20-minute session with me for free. And that goes to everybody who, you know, comes in. So there's a lot of creative ways you can do that.
So again, it's one of those things. The only thing is, I'm going to be honest, sometimes I find it annoying when I message somebody, because it's like, well, does that mean they're not going to answer my question? You know, like I had a question for them or whatever. It's like, I kind of feel like, oh, has my message gone off into the abyss? So I worry about that. So sometimes I have to circle back and say, hello, I still want to know, are you still going to be on my show next week? You know, it's like, I'm waiting to hear back from you or something like that. So I think I agree with you that messages can get lost. So that's something
you got to be really
consider.
diligent if you're going to use it.
If you are one of those ADHD people that you get really, really distracted quickly, this might not be for you.
Probably not.
Just saying. Okay. Let's talk about this one. This is, well, first of all, on a free plan, you can do LinkedIn searches, and then all of a sudden you're going to get a nasty message. You could be like, I could be doing all sorts of
You've
searches,
reached
and
the
it's like I'm
commercial
looking for
limit,
this. Yes,
right?
and then boom, you've reached your limit. Who knows how many that
I
triggers? Like there's
think on
no.
free, it's 100 profiles a week.
Oh wow.
That's what it was.
Okay.
So on free, it's 100 profiles a week. So if you are really using, LinkedIn to make connections, right, to find people, that could be restrictive. As you
Yep.
go up, and I think in Job Seeker, it's like 500.
Okay.
And then in Business Premium, it's unlimited. So you can
Okay.
see as many profiles as you like.
Okay.
Obviously, that's all within the 3 degrees of separation, not all 6.
Right.
So they still
Right.
cut you off of that.
Now, there is some workarounds that I believe Jeff Young taught me, Nigel Cliff taught me, you taught me. There are just so many different ways you can kind of get around this by like creating your search, saving your search offline as like a
Mhm.
Google bookmark somewhere. And so that's how I get around it, because it's like I set up a search, I save the search, and then I just, and it refreshes it. It pulls in the new people. So that's kind of the way to get around it if I'm on the free plan. But of course, if you have LinkedIn Premium, you can go in and do unlimited searching. And now let's talk about this new AI powered search,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I just saw two videos about it in the last 2 days. So it's like LinkedIn's really hitting hard on this search. So can you
Actually,
talk about this?
the most impressive part of all of this has been the fact that LinkedIn actually did a press release on a new LinkedIn feature. And then they went out and they obviously corralled at like 10 leadership people within LinkedIn and said, you got to do a post,
Mm,
because they all came out at the same time. It was coordinated. And I applaud them. I think that's the coolest thing LinkedIn's done all year. It has nothing to do with the feature itself. To me, the feature itself is interesting. It is the same engine that they were using for job search. So if
okay.
you go into job search, you can use natural language. So instead of clicking on the little boxes, company, size of company, all that kinds of, instead of doing all that, you basically go in there and say, I'm interested in a sales position with biology in California, right?
Okay.
Boom, and it comes back. That's the same thing now that's going to happen for people search. Instead of
Mm,
jobs, it's people now. What I find fascinating, because I've got it and I've been digging in, if you really want to be found as an author, right? You want to incorporate in your experience section, top experience, you want to make sure you're driving that home, that you're an
okay.
author, and give it a metric. I'm an author of 5 books that have sold over blah, right? Something to that effect. That's the kind of stuff that it's going to pick up. And it's actually pulling it from your top experience right now. Because
Oh, okay.
one of the things they've done, and this may change when you actually get a search result back. And I think I shared one with you because you were in there. When you get that search result back, you can see the words it's pulling, because they are kind of bold, in the sense of on that graphic, they're bold. It doesn't pull from the headline. It doesn't pull from the about section or the feature section. It only pulls right now from the experience section. So if
Mm,
you're an author, that's where you want to drive that home. And if you attach the words that somebody would search for with metrics, those are better than the words without metrics,
mm, mm.
right? So that's how it's kind of going through. This is basically kind of a component of this whole Brew 360 stuff, where they're using kind of analysis in the sense of how would a human see that? And that's really what they're doing. So I think it's great. That's probably the biggest thing you could do right now as an author, is make sure you've got those bullets in there. You say you're an author, you write books, right? Think of everything somebody would normally put in there to get there. And we did a test earlier today, and that was the perfect podcast to join if you're an author. And Gillian, you were top rated on that in that
Yes, I'll
first
show it. I'll
page,
show.
because it was, that went for infinity. There were a lot of them out there. You were top rated, and when it got down to it, it was that content in your top position that really brought that home. So to me, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And
And what was your search? So you typed in natural language,
looking for
looking for,
podcasts that would be a good match for an author,
there we go. And
right?
so he went through, and it's like, this is what LinkedIn brought up, and it's just a GIF. So that's why I
Yeah.
can't
And
stop
you
it.
can see
It's going to
the
keep.
bold right there, weekly
Yep.
podcast for 2 shows. Somewhere else in that content, they would have picked up author and
Yep.
something else, but at least you kind of know where it's pulling from.
Yep.
So having author in your headline is great for people to see in a search result because they know what you do. Having in the about section is great, but for this driver for search, you want to make sure you're using it as part of those bullets in your experience area, right?
Yep.
Attach it to metrics, you'll rank higher than the ones not attached to metrics.
Yep. And it's so important to, you want to optimize your profile. This is what Jeff Young and I talked about on our last LinkedIn for Authors
Mhm.
masterclass. We talked about the importance of having your author as a standalone experience. Don't just
Yeah.
bury it inside, okay, I'm a salesman. It's like, no, make an experience that it says an author. And I can tell you, as a podcaster, when I go to look at somebody's profile to see if maybe they might be a good fit to come on my podcast, if
Mhm.
I can't tell that they're an author, if I have to search too hard, I bounce. I don't even
Yeah.
worry about it. So have an author, but with my profile, I have a podcast experience and I
Mhm.
have an author experience. I actually have an author experience for every single one of my books.
Yeah.
So, that might be overkill, but why
No,
not? LinkedIn
it's
allows
pushing
it,
it out.
right?
So again, think about it in that sense, you know, get it in there so you can be found, but then also use it to find things that can help you,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
It's really difficult to find people in the sense of doing either a Boolean string in that search box, right? Or putting a bunch of keywords in there and hoping it figures them out.
Right.
This reading your natural language much better, much faster, much more accurate. And then you
Yes.
don't have to do, all the other things. And you can still, at that point, once you get that search, you can still then go and use the premium has a few extra search filters. So if you did that and you could come back and say, I only want in Texas, right? Or, whatever the other filter might be. And the premium filter gets down more into like seniority levels, deeper into the to location, size of company, those kind of things. So that premium filter on top of this could
Yep.
get even deeper, right? So if
Yep.
you're looking at your book services cardiologist, right? You could go in
Yes.
and do that. I'm looking for cardiologists in this area that, you know, maybe publish books or whatever it is.
Yes.
But the more information you give it in that sense of a sentence, the better it brings back in results.
Yes. And I can see that the AI search, again, if you already have premium, you should be testing this out now.
Mhm.
But the AI search, you could be looking for editors. Who in my network is an editor? Who in my network is a proofreader? Who in my
Who can
network
help
does?
me publish a book?
Yes.
And there,
Yes.
Gillian, you'd be at the top there as well.
There we go.
Right.
So I think this is something that definitely, if you're on a trial or you already have premium, do check this one out, because I think this is something to really, think about, because Boolean searching is not easy. And it doesn't always yield you the results that you want. Even if you're a clever, you can do the and the not and the or and all that sort of jazz. I used to work in
Mhm.
library, so I know Boolean searching, but it's not always intuitive. This
Mm.
natural AI stuff, it is. So
It's a
I
lot
think,
easier. Yeah, just to spit out a sentence or even a
yes,
phrase, right?
yes,
And get the
yes,
results
yes.
for
Let's see. Craig says, did you just say cats? Took me back to my youth. I don't know what that was, but that's good. That's good. Carrie Bryson says, view profile, leaving a digital card on their desk. So that resonated for her. So
it.
she
Mhm.
likes that one. So that's good. That's good. And Leslie is talking with Yolanda. They're saying hello. And Jeff says, from LinkedIn, selecting private profile characteristics or private mode will disable who's viewed your profile and erase your viewer history. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
interesting to know. That's interesting to know. And I love that everybody says hi to each other. Leslie says, great point, Kevin. Think about how your audience responds. And, authors, that's important anyways, because everything's always about your reader. It's not about you. So again, think of whenever you're doing anything on LinkedIn, how is your reader going to respond to this?
Yeah.
That's the key. That
We
is the
don't
key.
refine our brand for ourselves.
Yes, yes, yes.
We refine it to attract who we want to hang out with.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So Craig's asking, do you both use Boolean searching? I have always used Boolean searching.
Mhm.
And you can also do searching outside of LinkedIn. So, when I used to wear my Google Goddess hat, I
Mhm.
used to find, I just sometimes still will go out to Google and do a site search for
Yep.
LinkedIn and put my key terms in there. And that will pull up, in my opinion, better results than if I'm actually trying to use LinkedIn search thing. Although I do like you that search filters, and I think you have some YouTube videos
Yep.
on that. And that really helps you refine. So if you're back on the free plan and you're like, okay, well, I'm still staying on team free, Gillian. What else can I do if I can't use this AI search? You actually can go and search, and you can like search in other people's, like who's a follower of Kevin, or
Mhm.
whatever. I
Mhm.
can I can hone my search down. I can say, I only want people in the United States because I'm looking for people, that I don't want to, I don't want to have people in France. I just want to work
Yep.
with Americans, whatever. You can narrow it down to cities. You might say,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to go, like Kevin, you're going to Raleigh, North Carolina in a couple of weeks,
Yep.
right? And you're doing a road show. You might say, while I'm out there, I'd like to do some coffee dates. I want
Mhm.
to check
Mhm.
out and meet with some of my connections. So you could actually go and filter for the people in the Raleigh, North Carolina area that
Mhm.
maybe are, career coaches or something like that. And you
Yep.
can
We're
narrow down.
using one right now, and that's sponsors events in Raleigh.
Mm,
So we want to get a couple more event sponsors, right? So it's going to look for those profiles. It's going to find people in Raleigh, and they say they sponsor events. Boom.
yep.
Now I've got a list of people, the same, concept behind author, whatever they need, somebody who promotes books, into libraries or whatever it is. You
Yep.
can think about that. You can search for it, and then you can
Mm,
refine it using the premium filters even more.
right.
And my thing has always been, once you do that once, if it works, bookmark it, name it, right? And I actually love the new feature on Google now. You can just put it as a tab in there permanently as a bookmark tab. And
Yep.
that to me is real easy because then you can click it. And
Yep.
I do that for several lists for posts as well. And it does help. And I do use that refined side of it for other things when I'm more so targeting an audience,
Yep.
right? As opposed to knowing who they are.
Yep.
But yeah,
No.
there's a lot of use there.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily that you need to have this. I think the AI thing is kind of a nice to have. But if you have, good search skills, you can probably get around it by doing sort of what we talked about, using those
Yeah.
filters in the search, using Boolean search, and then also going over to Google and running your searches there. So I think
I
that's
think the
that's good too.
biggest thing to know is this is how LinkedIn now is searching.
Mm,
So knowing that and being familiar with it because you have it as premium, you can then perfect your profile so that it's pulled more often. So if you want to be pulled as an author
mm,
all the time, then figure out what that is and build it into your experience area, right? Attach it to metrics.
right.
That's going to be a heavily pulled profile going forward. Even
Yep.
though it's only a feature for premium right now, they'll expand that, but that's the new backbone of people search within LinkedIn.
Mm,
So, in that sense, smart to know it. That's one thing that's neat about LinkedIn Premium is all the AI tools they come up with.
yep.
They introduce them to Premium first.
Mm,
It gives them a smaller group that is very active to tweak, right? To make
right.
it better, to get the feedback. It's almost like their own little beta group in a sense, and they've decided to do that with premium. So
Right.
I would not be surprised in the next couple of years if all new features come out to premium first.
Mm.
So something to think about. They're already doing it now with AI features.
Right, right. And and I guess it really, do you want to be on the cutting edge? Like there's always people who enjoy being the early adopters, and that might really be very, very important for you. So I think
It can
that's
be a
good.
blessing and a pain.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So Carrie says, super interesting with the AI powered search could be impactful for finding the right people. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, the sky's the limit with what you could probably do with that. So I
You know what's
think,
funny though? LinkedIn eliminates you from your searches. And
oh,
they do that so that you can't figure out how to game it, right?
oh,
So
interesting.
if you try to find you using all the right terms, it's not going to be in those search results ever, even on
Mm,
page 100, because LinkedIn's already figured out that's why you'd be doing that, is to see how do you tweak it to make it even higher based on the
right,
ones that got there above you, right?
right.
So you don't know that. That's the wild card they built in.
Interesting, interesting.
Yep.
And that's why it actually helps to have a situation where you have multiple LinkedIn in the house, in that
Mhm.
you have your wife's account, you have your account, so you can both search each other, and then you can say, well, is it any better if I do this? You can kind of figure out, how can you optimize it? What do you need to do to
Yeah.
kind of
You'd
get
be
higher up in
surprised
the
how many
search
people
results?
I've searched for today. Hey, can you do these and then find me and tell me where I rank, and
Yeah,
you do it
yeah,
and you copy
yeah.
the page and send it to them,
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, so let's go back to so here's another part of AI. I'm kind of meh on this. So with premium, you get all sorts of AI writing features that will help you with your profile, will help you with your posts. It can even help you with your DMs.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of that, Kevin. And if I think if I was going to go use AI, I would just hop over to Chat GPT. I don't know if I necessarily would have LinkedIn do it for me anyways. And also too, I'm just really not like, I haven't checked my grammar, but I don't really want it writing stuff. And
Mhm.
you optimize profiles. So it's like, I think, you know, would I want to work with Kevin, or would I want to work with AI? I'm sorry, I'd want to work with Kevin.
Yeah.
So
I'm not
what are your thoughts
the
about
stuff
paying for
built into
this?
the profiles is awful. The stuff that does a headline for you or does an about section, it's awful. Don't waste your time. The only value it has is if you just joined LinkedIn and you had nothing, you put in all your experience because you uploaded your resume. Believe it or not, you can still do that, and it will populate it. But then you got to build those things. That's where it helps a little bit. And
Mm,
I'm one of these. I believe, AI can be an incredible muse, but a terrible artist.
right, right.
It's just the way it is. So use it as a spark to get somewhere. You'll do well. If you use it as the end product, it's probably going to blow up on you at some point.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I do think it's gotten better in posts because I test that. I don't use it, but I test it. And then in the DMs, it's getting better in those responses. So it's getting better on writing invites.
Okay. That's
So
good.
that kind of stuff. First introductions. It's really getting good. And this is off topic, but in the job search area, like write me a cover letter, because
Mm,
it's comparing, your resume and the job position. It's trying to tie all those things together, which can be hard on somebody, right? To pull all that
yeah,
together,
that's a tough thing.
and it
That's a
can
tough
produce
thing.
it in milliseconds. And those are actually pretty good. They still need to be looked at and combed through and improved and personalized, right? Because that's one thing AI has a tendency to do, is to get rid of the human factor of everything.
Right, right,
It can be a
right.
little bland in that sense, but it's getting better. And at some point, I think it's going to have great value. I've been testing a little bit on first message in to somebody when you're introducing yourself.
Mm,
I'm getting some pretty good response, but I do have to edit them heavily. But it gives me an idea, and that saves me a lot of time.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, two more questions. The first one is enhanced services. I get this all the time. So, it's like whenever I'm going in and I'm like fiddling around with my services on my LinkedIn
Mhm.
profile because I'm on the free, it's always tempting me. I should upgrade because I could get up to 30 requests per month. what on earth are they even talking about, Kevin?
It is just that they want you to buy into premium. It is a moneymaker, right? So they're always going to taunt you a little bit. Say, hey, what you got going is okay, but you could really ramp it up if you just joined in, right? They're going to continue to do that. I think it's a little tacky, but I don't control that part, right? So they're just going to continue to it because it must be working somewhere. But to me, it's like spam, right? Spam is one of those equations, the numbers equation. If you get 2% response rate in spam, you're like golden, right? You're famous for being able to do this. They're kind of spamming in a way. I don't think they would get even that 1% to upgrade just because of those little bits. So I think it looks a little messy. I wish they would get rid of it.
Okay, good. Then I'm not going to worry too much about that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is InMail credits. So, can you explain that? Because some people are like, I don't even know what that means. So what is InMail credits? Why would we want these as authors?
Basically, it allows you to reach out to somebody that you're not connected to within your network. So if you found somebody a little deeper in one of these searches and you wanted to reach out to them, you wouldn't have to go through somebody to get there, right?
Okay.
You can send that InMail, and depending on the premium account you have, you get a certain amount of InMails a month. They will roll over for 3 months and then they disappear. So if you don't use them, they go away. They only accumulate up to 3 months, right? And to me, it's almost become synonymous with spam. I hate to say, it was a big vehicle behind Sales Navigator. And so Sales Navigator was using these InMails. They were sending them out with Sales Navigator. I think you get 100 InMails. So they were just pounding people with them. And people now have a tendency, if they see an InMail coming in, people sometimes just delete them. They don't even read them, right? Because they know they are a pitch, which is bad because that kind of ruins things for everybody else. It is also why LinkedIn put that announcement on SSI, where they said that they're going to kind of de-emphasize SSI. And it was because those two center metrics in SSI were Sales Navigator driven, and they were all packed from the InMail. Sending out that InMail, understanding why somebody would want to connect with you, right? That was one of them. The other one is making these connections, and that was through these InMail credits. LinkedIn knows that kind of tarnished them a little bit and tarnished the InMail system. And so they're trying to back out and come out with something that actually is social selling, right?
Okay.
So I'm not a fan of InMail. I don't think they work anymore. Before they worked to a degree, but I don't think they work anymore.
So if I was looking, as an author, if I was looking for an editor and I did a search and I found some editors, and if I don't have these InMails, sometimes I can just email people, right? Because I have an open profile where I let people just
many
me.
premium people do have open profile.
Okay.
If they're premium and you see them as premium, probably have that by default. Those you can send a message to anyway. You don't need InMails. Yeah.
Okay. So then I could either try to connect with the person, or I could see if they have a services, and request their service. So that's just a way to get around that too. That it's like, if I was trying to contact somebody, I could just
people who do services do not like that though.
Really?
Yeah. Because you're using their lead form for you, not for them. Right?
Okay.
It's kind of, they don't like that just because of that. You get excited, you go, I got some leads, and you go in there and they want to sell me something. That's not technically.
No, I was saying, like, if I was looking to get an editor for my book. So I'm writing a book and I'm looking for an editor.
That's fine. That is a request for services.
Okay. Yeah.
There's people who are using it to basically pitch their own services, and
I had that the other day. It was just like, what? Don't
there's
do
always
that.
There's always ways around things, but some of them you shouldn't take. That's one of them you shouldn't take because it doesn't work.
Okay. So basically the InMails, That's not really a feature that you'd like, I must have that.
Mm-mm.
That's just kind of like you're probably not even using it.
No,
And,
you're
and
better
for
off
the, no,
looking at that profile, following them, right? Double bell, make that filter. So if they post, you're going to see them posting and respond to it, build a relationship. And if you have to, send them that blank email if you're not in premium, right? Or send them an email with a little detail in it. I
right.
wouldn't use InMail in that sense.
Okay. And you know what? You've also just brought up a really good point is sometimes too, just go to somebody's profile and look on their contact information and they list the email and go to their
Mhm.
website and send them an email. So you don't have to always do everything through LinkedIn
Yeah.
anyway. So
I
that's
remember Jeff introducing me to somebody who said they wanted to be in contact with me, but they couldn't figure out how. Yeah. I think the first thing I said is, has she looked at my banner?
you should have said no then, Kevin. You should have said,
If
okay,
I'd
no.
known better,
If I'd known better, if I'd known better. Okay, well, let's hop over to our comments and see if we have any last minute comments. I know I did not get them all. There's just always too many. So Jeff is answering about the Boolean search, and that's a good workaround. And so they're talking about that. Let's see. Elle says, is the experience section, can hashtags be used? If so, how does that help? What do you, I don't think hashtags are a thing anymore, are they?
If you put them in, you can search for them. I
Right,
mean, that's the whole thing. Hashtags work on LinkedIn if you search for them.
right, right,
You're
right.
no longer allowed to follow them. They're no longer going to push them into your feed. But if you search for hashtags, yes, they can have an impact.
Okay, okay.
What you would put in those sections in hashtag, I don't know what that might be, but it might drive. I don't know.
Right,
If somebody's
right.
going in there and doing a search, maybe it's LinkedIn expert as a hashtag, and you had LinkedIn expert hashtag in your about, they'd probably find your profile above anybody else's. So,
Right.
but I don't know how
Okay.
many people search for hashtag.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. There's just
Mhm.
it's sad that they did away with that, but what are you gonna do? I mean, like they used to even be at the top of our profile and
Mhm.
now everything.
They absolutely know that hashtags work on LinkedIn. They circumvent their control of the feed, and you
Right.
make money if you control your feed, right?
Yep.
So they get the
Yep.
ads in there, they get the sponsorship in there. When you take that control away, they lose money. So
Right.
that's why they said, well, we're not going to make it easy to use hashtags.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
why.
So this is probably a really good concluding comment. So Carmen Shea Brown says, so if I'm considering premium, should I
Mhm.
wait until December 2nd? Will more plans be available? That's an excellent question.
There will be a moratorium release on December 2nd on some new stuff. So
Okay.
if it were me and I wasn't decided yet, I would wait and
Right.
see if that next stuff works. But even if you got into premium now and you said, well, that other premium product sounds even better, you can switch even midstream.
Okay. That's good
You
to
can
know.
upgrade, your credits will move forward. If it was X and the new one is 2X, they're going to give you the credit, right? And you move on. So you're not going to be locked out in that sense. So if premium's right for you now and you made that decision, do it. If the next new thing comes in is better, you can upgrade.
Okay.
There's no issue there. But if
And
you don't know, I would
can you
wait.
downgrade too? Like
Yeah, you
if you
can.
go in and you say, I think I'd rather be on career and go
I've known
back
a lot
up
of
and
people who went from business down to career and back and forth. And, even into, I've had sales navigator before, I've had recruiter before, I've had business premium, business pro, and, and basic premium and a free account. So you can move throughout them. It's not an issue.
okay. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Okay. So wrapping up, I just want to one more time show you this is the help topic on LinkedIn. Let me turn off that banner so you can see it. And it literally goes through, and this thing was like updated, like I think it said 7 days ago. So
Yep.
this was today. So always do that when you go to LinkedIn and you look at the help. When was it last updated? Because sometimes it's like 3 years ago. So you're just like, what? But anyways, you can scan the QR code, you can go to the link, and then this actually goes through all the different programs, that they have for premium. And we don't even talk about company pages because I don't think that's as relevant for authors today as when we're talking about premium and how that all fits in. So anyways, everybody go check that out. Thank you, Kevin, for being here today. And do you have any kind of like final words of wisdom on this whole topic for us of the topic? Is it worth it for authors to have premium? What's sort of your last word for that?
I look at LinkedIn as a microcosm of the real world, right? If you need certain things to do business in the real world, you might need the things that premium provides you, right? And so you really got to know what you got to get done, who your audience is, and does that tool set work for you? Nobody can tell you if you get premium, things are going to go great for you because you can get it and you don't use it, or it doesn't fit, doesn't get you to where you want to go. You got to do that research up front and then make your decisions. Again, I've been a premium user since 2014. One or the other, moving up and down. I've always found it added value for me. And it is a tax deduction if you're in business, right? So, I play it in that sense. I don't think I'll leave premium at this point. Now, could I downgrade? Possibly. Could I upgrade if they come out with something that's just, earth shattering? Possibly. Yeah. But that's what I would just say is just kind of look at it, get the free package. 2 months is better than one, right? Because then you can really kind of get in there and use it all the way out, right? Wear the thing out and then decide, did that have value to me? Can I not live without it, right? Is it worth the extra dollars that I'm not going to have in my pocket because I'm producing more? And I've always said my premium fees, they're not cheap, but they've always paid for themselves multiple times over. So for me, absolutely, it's not a question, but everybody's got to make that decision on their own.
I love that. And I would just add in myself that it's like, don't think about premium if you're not even making use of the freemium. If you're not on LinkedIn,
wand, right?
Yeah,
you don't turn it on and all of a sudden everything works on LinkedIn, right? Your posts go farther and it doesn't happen.
It's not a magic bullet. It's not a magic wand.
Changes.
So, make sure you're doing and making use of free, and then review and say, okay, can this help get me to a different level? And that's what you should be, that to me is the decision matrix. So don't be one of those authors that just says, oh, I got it because I was serious about my book, but I'm sitting here with like 20 connections on LinkedIn and I never posted. Then you're just giving LinkedIn money for no reason. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you for everybody who joined us today. There's a lot of stuff to unpack here. And I, truly was a masterclass. We talked about so many different things. So with that, thank you very much. And we'll see you guys back here next month for another LinkedIn for Authors Masterclass. Okay. Bye, everybody.
See you, Gillian.